John Manley, who was Minister of Everything when Jean Chrétien was Prime Minister, recently mused that Canada, quote, has never been as alone in the world as we are now. It sure feels that way. The British and French are distracted by domestic turmoil. Relations with Russia are on ice over Ukraine. The Saudis aren't talking to us. Things went badly during Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's trip to India. And now the Chinese are simply furious over the arrest of the chief financial officer of Huawei Technologies. And if that weren't bad enough, there is good reason to suspect we're being played by the Americans. It was the Trump administration, after all, that asked Canada to arrest Meng Wanzhou at Vancouver International Airport for extradition to the United States on suspicion of violating sanctions with Iran. Oh yeah, our relations aren't so good with Iran. The Americans must have known that the arrest would infuriate China. The Americans are also deeply suspicious of Huawei, which they believe steals technology from other countries at the bidding of its Communist Party masters. Ms. Meng's arrest will certainly dampen prospects of Huawei helping Canada roll out its 5G network. As for deepening Canada-Chinese trade ties, the United States has already demanded the right to veto any agreement as part of the renegotiated NAFTA Accord, a clear surrender of Canadian sovereignty. Given all this bullying, it's very tempting to tell the Americans to take a hike. President Donald Trump is deeply unpopular in Canada. The United States, it seems, is no longer this country's friend. China is a rising power. Why offend the Chinese for the sake of the Canada-US relationship, which the Americans are abusing so badly? Actually, there are several good reasons to stick with the Yanks. The most important is that, sooner or later, Donald Trump will no longer be president. Things may not go back to the way they were before, but surely the United States will eventually start to behave more like its old self. The U.S. remains and will remain a democracy. China may never be one. The fact that Beijing demands that Canada release Ms. Meng and drop the charges against her shows how little that government understands or cares about the rule of law. Despite 2 years of the most isolationist president since Calvin Coolidge, the American-led Western alliance remains intact. Who would really prefer to see China replacing America as the political, military, economic leader of the world? There's nothing for it. We will have to weather Chinese anger and hope relations eventually improve while trying to limit the damage in the meantime. We will also have to hope that our friends in Europe are able to withstand populist unrest. And we will have to wait patiently until America comes to its senses. Yes, we're pretty alone right now, but not forever. Things will eventually get better, won't they?